girl Crystal, and welcome to another episode of She Laughs.
Hey everybody, it's Tanisha.
And today we have a topic for you guys. T, what is it?
We talk about sex.
Ooh. Not gonna lie, guys, I've been looking forward to this one. It's about time we hit on it. We've talked about relationship. We've even touched around marriage and singleness at times, but we've never.
And we talked about soul ties as well.
Yes,
but
we did.
We're going to talk more about sex as a whole in general, and we may bring up. Well, we're going to bring up soul ties again a little bit, but we're just talking specifically about sex. Period.
Yeah. So, I guess we'll start by first talking about sex outside of marriage before we jump into marriage. And I'm going to come from a single aspect. T, of course, is going to come from a married aspect. So, of course, everybody knows the basic. Sex outside of marriage, you just don't do it.
It is a sin. Yes.
It's a sin.
It's called fornication.
That's what it's called, guys. No judgment. I myself have had sex outside of marriage.
I have as well.
Okay. And now I'm also still single. I am not married yet. Here's the thing about it, and this is where we touch back on soul ties and why God actually speaks to us and says that sex is so powerful and important that he actually wants you to refrain from it outside of marriage for a very important reason. He created it. It's amazing. I'm not gonna lie, it is. But it's good and amazing in the context that God created it to be. In his word, it actually talks about sex is actually a form of worship.
Yes.
Okay. So for those of y'all that is like, sex is bad, sex is not bad.
No, because God created sex.
Okay. I'm going to say that again. Sex is not bad. However, the enemy has perverted something that God actually created to where it is just how I said it. It's perverted. Okay. Sex is literally created to connect two souls together. That's what it is created for. So that is where we get things called soul ties from. And it's not just through sex. You can have soul ties with your friends. You can have soul ties with anyone. It doesn't come just through sex. But
no.
Sex is definitely one way of creating a soul tie because it is literally the joining of two souls together to offer up worship to God. It is how he joins people together in marriage. Hint, hint. Okay? Which I'll talk about. We'll get to that in a second.
Yep.
But doing it outside of marriage, when we're talking about sex, we're not just talking about between two individuals. We're talking about every aspect of what the Bible calls sexual immorality. And this, I would say recently, was mind-boggling for me because, of course, we know certain things are sinful, but I'm gonna be honest, even down to masturbation, all of that is considered a sin.
Repeat that for the people I don't think they quite heard you.
Masturbation, guys and girls, is actually considered a sin. It is a form of sexual immorality. Okay, why is this? Okay, well, let's go back to what the Bible says. Your body is the living temple of God. Okay? That means that he dwells within you. Right? What does that mean? That means that every time you are doing something, God is literally right there with you in the act. Okay? So now you are defiling his temple with something that he has literally blatantly said is a sin. Okay. When he created sex, it was literally, like I said before, a form of worship between two people.
That was its only sole purpose.
That was it. you are now doing something that he created to happen between two people and defiling it by doing it with just yourself.
That's the part people don't understand. That's the most simplest way to put it, why it is a sin. Because you are doing it for your own gratification. Because sex has nothing to do with you. Sorry. I mean, it doesn't. Yes, you are going to enjoy it. Yes, God wants you to enjoy it. But let's break down really what worship is. And we've had an episode about worship.
Mm-hmm.
In this context, worship is serving. So the point of sex is to serve one another.
Mm-hmm.
Man to woman, woman to man. That's what makes it worship. It is about you being of service to another one person's body.
Yes.
You can't service just yourself.
That now you are servicing your own fleshly desires.
Now it all becomes about what you want and what you need. That is the tricky thing about lust. That's why lust cannot fit in a marriage, because lust has everything to do with you and your needs and has nothing to do with that other person.
Mm-hmm.
Though they may benefit, you aren't doing it for their benefit.
No.
You're doing it for yours. So that is why, yes.
Including masturbation.
Yes, masturbation. That's what makes it a sin.
And here's the thing, and guys, I know it might seem hard. It can be, but then, and I'm gonna tell on myself here, because
that's fine.
But it's fine because somebody needs to hear it. It can be hard, but it doesn't have to be to stop. When you really come to understand and when you really come to start to submit yourself and say, God, everything about my life is yours, including my body. He will literally direct you, send reminders, gentle reminders at that, to remind you, okay, this is out of alignment with what it is that I've said you should be doing. Okay. T's laughing because I know she knows where I'm about to go. Once again, masturbation is for yourself. Pornography is 100% for your own
pleasure.
It has nothing to do with pleasing God. It has nothing to do with worshiping God. It has everything to do 100% with self
gratification.
So when God revealed this to me, okay, I was under the mindset. Let me tell y'all how perverted the enemy does. I was under the mindset that I was not sinning because I was not having sex with anybody
else.
And anybody else. I was not out there doing those things. Lord, you know that this is something that I am doing to make sure that I don't fall into sin. Yes. I am trying to keep this in check because my hormones is going. So let me just take care of it myself to get that hormone under to submission, which wasn't, because guess what? I'm still feeding the hormone.
Yeah, you're not getting control of your hormones by gratifying it.
Exactly. So first, before God even gave me the word, I'm gonna tell you what happened. Y'all gonna laugh, but this is 100% true. He literally started having worship songs going through my head if I even tried or attempted to do it. And it literally, for a good, I'm ashamed to say it, but for a good month, 2 months, I just would get outright ticked off because I'm like, what really it was is I'm trying to please my flesh here. And you are literally putting my mind frame in a space to where I know what I'm doing is wrong. Nope. I'm talking about elevation worship is coming through my head. I'm talking like Phil Thompson is coming through my head, Todd Delaney is, and I'm starting to sing them, and I'm like, eh. Now, if y'all want to talk about a buzzkill, those are literally buzzkills when you are trying to literally fulfill on your fleshly desires, not on your spiritual desires when you're literally acting out in the spirit. But when you are acting in your flesh, the last thing you want to hear is a sermon. The last thing you want to hear is a worship song. The last thing you want to hear going off in your mind is Jesus, 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 Jesus.
Because it no longer makes it about you.
And I was just like, why am I... I mean, it was literally irritating. And then I was watching, and I suggest this for single and married people, this whole entire series. This is literally something, I have no kids yet, of course. Well, not of course. Some people, it happens. But I have no kids yet. I literally saved this entire series by Pastor Mark Todd because I was like, when it comes time.
Mike Todd,
Lord. When it comes time for me to have children, I will be wanting them, one, to watch this series when it comes time to have certain discussions with them, but also to refresh my memory so that I am able to break it down for them properly. But his whole series was anointed, and it's called Relationship Goals. And it was his sixth sermon in this series, and he's talking about sex. He called it the sex container. And he just broke it down just amazing. And I was like, that is why I'm doing this. That is why you are literally now holding me accountable and changing my thought process in something to where it aligns, Lord, with what your original intention for this act was. And causing me to come into submission. So now I have to make a decision. Either I still follow you, or I'm going to outright sin and choose to do it. That's where I say it can be hard, but it doesn't have to be. Because ever since then, and I'm be honest, it hasn't been that long, that desire has dwindled, I would say, vastly. Okay, it just has. Because I realized, okay, now that's a tactic of the enemy. What I had been telling myself was a complete falsehood and a lie. This is not me trying to one up other people or better than other people because I'm bringing that hormone in submission. That was a lie. I wasn't. And so you've got to understand that single people, if you have stepped outside and gone ahead and fornicated, you can come back. Okay, it's never too late for that. It's literally turning over your body to God and saying, I submit my body to you. And this we're talking about sex, but this is with everything. I'm talking about addictions. I'm talking about gluttony, feeding your body, literally turning over your whole entire body and saying you have complete control over it. Okay. The other part of it is when you, and this is where we're about to go and verge over into marriage after I say this last one, and then T's going to take it away. When you are having sex outside of marriage, this is where those soul ties come in, because now, in the olden days, marriage was not a piece of paper. We have actually added that on for, quite frankly, our benefit. Because honestly, you really don't have to do that in the eyes of God to be married. Marriage in the olden days was literally, okay, this person abstaining from sex, this person abstaining to sex. They now form and go in and create a covenant through sex. Okay? And now they are married. And Pastor Mike Todd asked a beautiful question. He said, how many times have you had God say, I do, when you didn't? You were just feeding your flesh. And God is like, but I'm coming to this thing. I'm here with you in this act. And you're actually creating a covenant with this person. No. Oh, sorry. I'm banging. My bad. I was like, I thought T was correcting me, but she was like, no, stop banging. Anyways, but you're actually creating a covenant with this person. And then you think, okay, everything is done because I done broke up with them. And God's like, no, you actually have a soul tie connected with that person. That's why I told you not to do this. Because in the Bible, when it talks about we should cleave to each other, they're joining together and creating and becoming one. This is what he's talking about. I'm actually knitting your souls together. And so now you're tearing apart your two souls, and that's why it can be painful. That's why it takes forever for you to get over Jerome. Okay? Boo, that's what it is. That's why I can't get her off my mind. Duh.
and let me explain, because a lot of people don't get it. Because people don't understand what a soul is. Your soul is your emotions and your thoughts. So that is why they can't get off your mind, because you have a connection in thought and emotion. That's why. Mm-hmm. That's it. They hear soul and you lose them at the word.
Okay, sorry.
Yes, because some people really don't know what a soul is. Mm-hmm. You lose them the minute you say a soul tie. What is that? That means why you're acting out the way you're acting. Why the minute he leaves and don't want to be with you, you're acting a whole complete nut. Because you have now attached your emotions and thought to that person and vice versa.
Yes.
That is why the separation is a struggle. That is why their mind lingers. That is why their thoughts linger with you. Because it is now connected through that act.
Mm-hmm.
Or other ways, again, there are other ways to have soul ties.
Yes.
But most definitely through sex, you're going to have one. Yes. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You're going to have one. So just erase the word soul, and here it is a tie of your emotion and thoughts. You're connected together. Yes.
And you have to ask God to remove that.
Yes, because you do not have the power or no authority to cut that string. Well, let me say, you have the authority to cut it. You don't have the power to do so. You need the Holy Spirit and God to do that for you.
Yes. So my question is, how many people are you connected to that you have not asked God to cut those strings? And I'll be honest, it wasn't, I realized that's why so many of us go into relationships and we're trying to make this person pay for what Jerome did, or this person pay for what Philip did, or this person pay for what Keisha did, because we're still connected to them. You're still connected. And we bring all this baggage, and God is like, you got so many covenants. You've been married to 10 people. Okay, let's call a thing. You're married to 10 people. And he's like, you haven't broken any of those covenants. So I cannot, until you ask for it to be removed, I can't break those covenants for you. So that's there. So that is why the importance of not or abstaining from sex before marriage until you're ready to finally say, I do to a person. And once again, that is not a wedding day. That is not going to the courthouse. That is not signing a piece of paper. Okay? That is man-made things for our benefit to say, we got it in writing. And God is like, I don't care nothing about that. I literally don't. It is literally when you join. So that's my spill on it about the single side. Come on, T, with the married. What happens after you're married?
Okay, relax.
I'm just joking. But as single people want to know, because some of y'all.
So we all like we said, sex is designed for marriage, and the reason why is because of marriage is our covenant with God, which basically is the world's view of our individual covenant with God, is the way it is the easiest way to see it. Two people coming together, one mind or one soul, thought, and emotion going toward the effort of the things that God wants for us. So, when you are having sex within your marriage, I know a lot of times people bring up the scriptures where it talks about how there's only one reason and one reason alone, well, two, why you would not have sex with your partner.
And guys, that is in 1 Corinthians 7, 3-5.
So people use that often. The Bible mentions that the only reason why you would not would be because if you both have agreed to do so, or if you are fasting and praying. Those are the two times where sex, you don't have to worry about it. The Bible also before that mentions that your body is not your own. Husbands, your body do not belong to you. Wives, your body do not belong to, it belongs to each other, which coincides with the fact that sex is a form of worship. It is to serve one another. So I want to break down to you all, because the Bible uses the word deprive. It says you are not allowed to deprive each other from sex. The word deprive means to take away from, withhold something from, or to remove. Remove. You cannot get the word deprive confused with the word refuse, because refuse means to express oneself as unwilling to accept.
Yep.
Here's the difference. For whatever reason, you decide you aren't in the mood to have sex with your partner. You can most definitely express that you are unwilling to have sex. You cannot deprive. Here's the difference between the two when you're doing it. This is the context. Depriving means I am withholding for point of control or manipulation.
Yes.
I have an attitude with you. I am upset with you. Therefore, you're not getting any. That is depriving. The way to refuse in that situation would be to say, earlier today, whatever occurred hurt my feelings. I am not in the mood to have sex because right now I don't want to worship with you. I don't want to be of service with you right now. That means a conversation needs to be had. Those who are married and you are having angry sex, because a lot of people do it. For some reason, this culture likes to do that. The breakup, makeup, and then we have sex. You are not worshiping one another. You are in lust.
Make it plain.
God is not pleased with that. Because not only did you not invite each other into that scenario, you didn't invite him in either. That is the difference. When you are worshiping one another physically, God is present.
Yes.
You have invited him in because you are being of service to the person that he has put you under or over, depending on whom you are, wife or husband. So this angry sex thing has got to go because now it's about self-gratification. Now I'm just trying to get mine. Hopefully you get yours.
Yep.
It is what it is. Or even if you're a person who it is you would, or your senses get heightened off of pleasing someone, that is still self-gratification because you want to be happy. Sorry. So even if it's not, well, I want her to get hers too. Yeah, you want her to get hers because it gets you off yet and still.
Yes.
So that's still self-gratification. When it is, you are in it solely to please that other person, is it worship? And usually those who have dealt with or have had an issue with pornography who do not get the difference.
You want to do what you see.
You want to do what you see because you know it will get you off.
Yes. Yes.
That's lust. That is not worship. in sex, in marriage. It does not belong there. And you have to come together to try to figure out how you're going to remove it. Because God will help you to remove that, of course.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You are going to have to be delivered from that spirit of lust. You need deliverance. You need to find a church. Deliverance can't be done on your own. I'm sorry,
No.
y'all. You cannot deliver your own.
Delivered.
No.
Okay.
You really, you can't. This is something you're going to have to go to a church about. Hopefully it's the church that you have joined, where you trust the man of God who was over you enough to help deliver you from this. You need deliverance from lust. You really do. And I would encourage any man or woman who has had an issue with pornography and masturbation to seek deliverance from that, because it will hinder you in your marriage. It will put you in a thought process of thinking, I'm only here to please me.
Yes.
And you are there to please each other.
Yes.
So wives, though I say you can refuse, you need to get to the heart of why are you refusing? Because if you have an attitude and you're not in the mood, then you have to have a conversation. And then you need to get yourself in such mood. So you cannot sit up there and say he's not getting, you better not touch me. You cannot lay in that bed and say he better not touch me. That is no, ma'am. That is, you need to cut the lights on and you need to have a discussion about why you feel the way you feel.
Yes.
Because now you are purposely separating yourself from the person you're supposed to be in covenant with.
Yes.
That's not how this works. Same thing for men. Those of you that do that, because there are some of you that will withhold sex from your wife as a form of punishment. Mm-hmm. That is depriving. And that is not what sex and marriage is supposed to be about. So I'm not at all saying you got to do it just because. You have the right to refuse. But it's a heart posture. What are you refusing for? Yes. Get to the root of it. Fix that issue. Because believe it or not, it will cause other issues in your covenant.
Well, that's just Bible, and that's just what it is. I love how T breaks it down, because as a single person, usually when we hear this, especially for us as women, we're taught you can't refuse your husband. You can't refuse your husband. And she's right. You know, you actually can, but why are you refusing him?
Yes.
Is it in revenge that you're refusing him? Is it in manipulation?
Or do you genuinely have a headache? Like, really? Is it really for real a headache?
Or is it that you actually have an issue with him that you don't want to discuss?
Or yourself.
There you go.
Or yourself. Do you value yourself in your own body? Mm-hmm. Are you okay with continuing to be vulnerable? And a lot of women have an issue with that after having children. Their body has changed.
I didn't even think about that.
So they have issues. Their body has changed.
I don't want you to see me.
Yes, so their own self-worth starts to come into play.
Yes.
So you have to get to the heart of those problems and those issues, because that coming together to worship is important. Mm-hmm. Not necessarily vital, because sometimes you get older and body functions and they do what they want to do. Yeah. But it is important. It is 100% important. And you have to make sure God is always included. And if you have to ask yourself at that time, that means he was not invited into your bedroom. Mm. And he's supposed to be in the midst of your bedroom, because he holds you together. Otherwise, again, it's lust and it's about you.
Well,
either directly or indirectly, you've made it about you.
That's the whole word. I can't say nothing because I'm not married, but I'm just soaking in what she has said, and also because I've been reading, and that is literally what God has been saying to me for when it is that time.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have conversations and be vulnerable, and a lot of times husbands, y'all too, y'all. I have heard where some of you can use sex as a manipulation tool, but you're supposed to submit that to your wife as well.
Yes.
So let's not just put it on the wives.
No, though they get the wives to get bad rap, and it's our fault because
Yes.
we're quick to do that. I'm just not in the mood. I just don't feel like it.
Mm-hmm.
I get it. I understand. I've been there, and I've had to ask myself, okay, what happened today that I am irritated? Well, and the Holy Spirit will convict me. Well, are you gonna fix it, or are you gonna lay here in bed with an attitude? Because you already know. So what are we gonna do here? And that will be that's all out here. I don't get a nagging when it comes to that. It's straightforward. Are you going to fix it, or are you going to lay here like that? And then I'm just going to back out and let you make your decision.
Well, I like how you said it. It's straightforward because a lot of times we're like, God, they don't know. And I'm like, he's very specific, very direct.
Yes, very much so.
There is no guessing. He literally comes in and be like, what you gonna do?
Mm-hmm.
Yes or no? So, hey. Well, T, you got anything else?
No, that's really it. Just check your intent, wives and husbands. Why are you withholding?
And single people, our bodies are not our own. Submit it to Christ. Like I said, it can be hard, but it doesn't have to be. And it is easier. God just revealed this to me. It is easier for him to deal with us now before we are married than to get into a marriage and he has to correct us in our lust and our fleshly desires with your spouse, because that will show up in your bedroom.
Yes, it will. Absolutely. And then you are putting someone else in harm's way.
Mm-hmm. And he just revealed to me, and I was like, oh, well, that's something I don't want in my marriage. So
yes.
if you're literally dealing with me about it now, it's because it is time to be dealt with. But go check out Pastor Mike Todd. Watch the whole series, Married and Single. Watch the whole series. It's amazing. He that was definitely divinely given to him. Anyways, T, where can they find you?
Facebook, Tanisha Williams, and Instagram is Styles by Tanisha J.
And as always, guys, you can find me on Facebook at Charmaine's Confessions or Charmaine Kierce. And you can find me on Instagram, Charmaine's Confessions or Charmaine Kierce.
You guys make sure you follow us on Facebook, She Laughs.
Yes.
Please.
Yes.
Like, subscribe, comment, email, all of that great stuff. We're always available. You guys can always contact us with any questions or any topics that you may have in mind.
Yes, we love to hear from you. Well, until next time, guys.